Ohio State wins the national championship, a game you heard right here on ESPN Radio, a game you saw on ESPN television. They beat Notre Dame 34-23. They were up 31-27. Notre Dame comes all the way back on a huge 3rd and 11 late in a one-score game. A 50-plus yard pass from Will Howard to Jeremiah Smith, who's about 12 years old and is probably better than any wide receiver in the NFL. That guy is unfreaking believable.
Doesn't look 12 years old.
Oh, my God. He's really 18, I think. He's
19.
19 years old, and he's unbelievable.
It's a grown man.
And Ryan Day lost to Michigan. He's 70-10 and won a national championship. The other big story, Ben Johnson, the hottest candidate out there, Detroit Lions offensive coordinator, gets hired by the Chicago Bears. And we did something a few weeks ago on our show. Go back on the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and listen to all 4 hours. And we built out the criteria for what these teams should be looking for with their head coaches. And when CC built out the Chicago Bears, you said basically a been there, done that guy, right? When they make the move to try to get Mike Tomlin and they get turned down, check. That's what you were looking for. When they're interviewing Mike McCarthy, check. That's what you're looking for. Somebody who has almost borderline guaranteed success, okay? And I'm listening yesterday to ESPN 1000, and Carmen and Yurko, Waddle and Sylvie do a little crosstalk that they do at the end of their shows. And John Yurko, who is a former NFL player, played on the defensive line, as credible as a guy that there is, and he simply stated to all Bears fans, no complaining. This is who you all wanted.
Yep.
If it doesn't work out, you can't call ESPN 1000 in Chicago and complain, oh, Warren doesn't know what he's doing, Poles doesn't know what he's doing. You guys all asked for this. He never said it wasn't going to work out. What Yurko said was, you got what you wanted. Now, what I would say in response to that is along the lines of what Cece said. Are we sure this is going to work? What Ben Johnson is now is what Adam Gase was with Peyton Manning, what Josh McDaniels was multiple times over with Tom Brady. And unfortunately for both of those guys, in 2 different stops, they did not become great head coaches. How do we know that this is McVay and Shanahan and not McDaniels and Gase?
You don't.
So why is it such an obvious sure thing that they got the hottest candidate out there to be their head coach versus the guy that we were saying with Mike McCarthy that you know you're going to be boring, but you're going to win 10-plus games every year?
Nothing's a sure thing.
No, Mike McCarthy's a sure thing.
Mike McCarthy is about as sure of a thing.
He's about as sure of a thing as you're going to get. But I think if you're the Bears, this infuses that building and that fan base with a different type of excitement and hope. And he could be the best head coach that we see come through that division. We don't know yet. We don't know. But you could have gone with the safe choice in Mike McCarthy, who you did interview. You wooed him. You brought him to Chicago. Or you could go with the guy that your quarterback publicly wants, that has had so much success in your division, that's young, could grow with your quarterback together, that could bring in some creativity, some innovation. But it all comes down to they are taking the biggest swing that they possibly can. They think that Ben Johnson, they've identified him, and so many other franchises around the NFL did too, by the way, because he's been a hot candidate, not just this year, but last year as well. They have said, we're going to go and swing for the fences. This is the hottest name out there. We've been watching him absolutely torch our division on the offensive side of the ball. We have an offensive player that is quite literally the future, the present and future of our organization, and we can't get this wrong, so we're going to gamble on Ben Johnson. And I can't blame them. I can't blame them because it's a very sexy hire. It's a very enticing hire. I'm sure that they're enamored by what Ben Johnson can bring to the table, or the prospect of what he can bring to the table. And to your point, the fan base can't be mad at this.
Agreed.
They went out and they did exactly what everybody wanted, the fans, the players, etc. They did it. Now let's see how it plays out.
Well, yeah, in the short term, Ben Johnson gives the organization cover for selecting Caleb Williams over Jayden Daniels. So in the immediacy after they hired him, or they announced this yesterday, now all of a sudden we're talking about the Chicago Bears actually moving in the right direction, getting the offensive mind to pair with the quarterback, the guy that everybody wanted. And hopefully he can make Caleb Williams look more like some of the other rookie quarterbacks that we've seen that have shown a lot of promise, specifically Jayden Daniels. So I think that's already the win for the Chicago Bears. But now here's where the hard work comes. It's getting everybody in the organization in alignment. And based on some of the reporting that's been around this already, it sounds like there's going to be a separation of powers when it comes to the front office. General Manager Ryan Poles is still going to keep control over the final 53-man roster. So we'll see how that dynamic plays out, whether those two can work together, get on the same page. I think that's going to be key in terms of being able to make this a successful marriage, and then also being able to set up the infrastructure, set up the culture so that you can get the most out of everybody on that team, not just Caleb Williams. Now, I think Ben Johnson is doing himself a solid by some of the hires that we're hearing. Like, he's going out and getting defensive coordinator, former head coach Dennis Allen to be on his staff. He's trying to get interim head coach from the New Orleans Saints, Darren Rizzi, to be their special teams coordinator. So he's going out and getting some guys that have already worn the head coaching hat, sometimes multiple times over. And I think having that experience on your staff as a first-timer is going to be important in terms of understanding how to do the job of being the coach of the entire team, not just the quarterback, not just the offense. But again, I'm putting a lot of faith in an organization that has not earned the benefit of the doubt. I mean, since 2013, the Chicago Bears have had one winning season, and that's across 4 different head coaches. So you're asking me how I feel about it. I think Bears fans feel great about it because they got the guy that everybody wanted. But I think what pushed it over the top, which moved the Bears closer to what Ben Johnson was looking for, is because of what we've seen from Jayden Daniels throughout these playoffs and throughout the regular season. There is no argument to be made about which quarterback is the best quarterback in the 2024 draft class.
No.
It's Jayden Daniels. And the frustrating part about that for Bears fans is that you could have had this guy, but instead y'all picked Caleb Williams. That's going to be tough. So that's why this is such a high bar to clear for everybody involved in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the expectations in 2025 are going to be unrealistically high.
More than last year when he was drafted and we said he was in the best situation we may have ever seen for a rookie quarterback.
Jayden Daniels is in the conference championship game and could be in the Super Bowl.
And the other 3 teams in your division made the playoffs. Yeah, there's
so I'm just saying, like, what is the bar to clear now that Caleb Williams has Ben Johnson? What is the bar to clear for the Chicago Bears in 2025?
Well, competing for the division, trying to get to the playoffs. But I'll say this about Caleb Williams: there was a lot of pressure on him before. His comments on the podcast about Ben Johnson, he signed his name to this. When you publicly say, this is who I want, this is who I think can push me, help me grow, make me better, and I'm craving that, and then the organization goes out and gets it, you publicly signed your name to this. So everything that you said about working hard and about wanting to be pushed and about wanting to be better, now it's time for you to do your part in this as well.
So let's talk about a couple of things based on what you guys are saying. First of all, the Bears are also telling you that they're smarter than everybody else. And what I mean by that is, give me their top 3 first or second year quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Who would you say are the top 3?
C.J. Stroud is one of them. Jayden Daniels is one of them.
Drake May?
Sure.
Okay. All 3 of them have young defensive coaches. Okay. So D'Amico Ryans with C.J. Stroud.